What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the first episode in our coverage of Rimworld Alpha 13. So if you haven't heard of this game, chances are you will hear about it very, very soon because it's coming out on Steam in a couple of weeks. This game has been in alpha for a very long time. It's by Tynan, Sylvester, and Ludion Studios, which essentially, it's a very high-quality colony management simulator. So if you enjoyed anything like Nemoria, for example, on this channel, or Towns, or any of those sorts of things, or Craft the World way back in the day, you will more than likely very much like Rimworld. Rimworld is a complicated little game that's got a pretty decent learning curve, but actually I think one of the real interesting things about Rimworld is even though there's a lot of complexity there, it's actually a reasonably easy game to learn. Like, there are things to figure out, and there is a learning curve, but honestly, the game does a great job at just making everything available to you. You can click through menus very, very easily and just kind of get led around by the nose until you figure out what you want to do, or at least get led around by whim. There we go, it's a little bit better than by the nose. Seems like it get painful after a couple of hours. So anyways, we're going to play some Rimworld for a while. I'm not any good at this game. I'm just letting you know right now. Fair warning, I am not good at this game any longer. And so, anyways, I've watched some other people play the game for a while now, and I've streamed it for about 20 hours. I've got a pretty good idea of how to play the game. I do alright, but once we get to like the middle game stuff, that's when I tend to start to get a little bit fuzzy on what needs to get done versus what does not need to get done. I can get all the way up through like killbox construction, and then from there I'm just like, well, what do we do now? Let's go ahead and we will create a new colony. I'm a little bit torn between playing Cassandra Classic and Randy Random. Randy Random is actually my favorite. Randy Random tends to be, I say this very, very, very carefully and slowly, tends to be easier than Cassandra. Like, the thing is, Randy Random is completely random. You gotta choose your difficulty. Cassandra Classic is the normal storyteller, so that's who we're choosing right here. She's got basically an incline of difficulty that just stays constant the entire time. There's Phoebe Chillax, which is basically like a straight line. Nothing bad is ever going to happen to you. It's super easy. And then there's Randy Random, which just randomly selects events out of a hat and then just throws them at you. Which means you might have the easiest game ever where nothing bad ever happens, or you might just have the most hellish excursion ever, and there's just no way to figure out what you're going to get. And because randomness is bursty, I think that's why I tend to identify with Randy Random being a little bit easier. That's just me personally. It's just the bad luck is burstier and it's over faster, whereas the bad luck with Cassandra Classic tends to be in sequence. Like, you'd be like, alright, so bad thing happened, then this happened, then this happened, then bad thing happened, then this thing, then this thing, then bad thing. Whereas with Randy Random, it'll be like bad, 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 and then you'll have like 4 hours of gameplay with nothing bad happening. It really comes down to the way that you want to play the game. You get to choose a difficulty inside of the storyteller that determines just how nasty things are going to get. I figure I'll probably go with Cassandra Classic might be better for a YouTube series. Randy Random is better for just me having fun and playing shortly. So you know what, let's go with Cassandra Classic. We're going to put her on rough. I would recommend always playing on rough or higher, just because these ones down here tend to make it, I don't know, if you want to practice building quickly and like getting things done without having to mess around with raids, I guess that's what these could be used for. But in general, you lose something when you play this game on anything less than like rough or challenge difficulty. It just doesn't feel as threatening. It really sincerely doesn't. Then you're like, well, why am I doing this in the first place? We apparently live in, I don't know, Koosh planet where everything is squishy and padded for my comfort. So we'll go Cassandra Classic for right now. If that ends up being something that people want to see more of, we can do a Randy Random playthrough. I like Randy Random. Randy Random is probably my favorite, but we'll go with Cassandra. How about that? I've already got Algae Nib as the world that I live inside of. So Algae Nib, show me your beauteous map, Algae Nib. Alright, so Algae Nib has a map. We need to step around Algae Nib's map and figure out where it is we want to live. The biomes, as far as I understand them, and feel free to correct me, but anyways, the more greeny there are, the more trees they have. And so these would have lots of trees, but not a lot of stone. These would tend to have trees, a little less, and some stone, unless you're inside the mountain ranges right there. I do think with respect to geology, the map generation could be improved a tiny bit. It seems like there's lots of mountains inland, and that's not a complaint. It's not a complaint. I can already hear people, God, fanboys. I can already hear them sharpening their knives right now. I'm just saying. As somebody that studied geology, I would like the map to show some semblance of, I don't know, geologic, there we go. I'd like it to show some geologic where like, oh, there's volcanism, so now you've got like this along this side right here. You got a continental arc going on. I would like that. Now these are desert biomes down here. This one is arid shrubland versus extreme desert versus desert. Extreme desert is just desert in the 90s. Like over here, it's like the year 2015. Over here, it's like 1993, and they still use the letter X in every single sentence in one way or another. That island looks like it's giving me the middle finger. I kind of want to live there. Oh boy. Let's stay away from that mentality for as long as possible. I don't know. I just don't know anymore, Nerd Castle. I just don't know. Sometimes I wonder just how long this thing's gonna ride out. I'll probably just do something simple. I mean, they've got the 1st of spring to the 11th of fall. That's actually not that great of a growing period. It's probably due to that little mountainous zone in the middle, would be my guess. Yeah, it does seem to be directly related to maybe the mountainous biome. I don't know. I mean, we can select random sites, and you can just kind of click around until you get something that looks good. We've got a biome that's in the desert right now. I don't know if I want to play. I like the desert. I'm sorry. I like the forest biomes quite a bit. I like having an abundance of wood, and then having to struggle for stone and that kind of stuff. That tends to be what I enjoy when I play the game. So anyways, let's find a spot here. I like... You know, normally I just do this by aesthetic. I think we'll go with something gentle. So we'll do something, I don't know, over here, maybe down here. These are year-round. You actually, so what you want to pay attention to here is you've got your average temperatures, and then really what most people look at is the growing period, which is how long you can grow crops. If you wanted to increase the challenge on yourself, there are areas that you could definitely like settle in. It would make your life a lot more difficult and make it so that you can't really rely on growing crops very well. And instead in those situations, you have to rely on hunting and kind of migratory animal patterns. Stuff like that. I will probably go with... Oh, I don't know. That seems fine to me. We'll be down on the, like, the little bottom flipper of this steampunk airship right here. And so we'll select that site. You can also go to advanced, and you can decide how big you want your map to be. I usually go with 300 by 300. I like it. That tends to... there's no logic for that decision. I'm just saying, I like to put it on 300. I just do. And then from here, now we've got the really fun part, which is where I need to go through and randomize all of my individuals that are inside of my colony. And so essentially we'll go through what each colonist does. Mostly what I'm looking for is people who are not incapable of anything. I tend to like to start out with a couple of guys who are not incapable. Incapable essentially locks them out of certain jobs. I prefer that my first 3 guys be unencumbered by that problem. Other things you want to look out for is people who have, like, depression. That's a trait you might want to watch out for. Some people have scars. I don't know exactly how the scars affect things, but we want to minimize those as much as possible on the first couple as well. I will take some scars if I have to. Mostly you just don't want them to be missing, like, legs and stuff like that. You got to make sure you got some top-tier recruits. So anyways, I'll be back to you in just a second once you get these guys going, and then we'll name them, and we'll talk about their skill sets and what we want to do with them. I think I'm pretty happy with what we have going on right now. Welcome on back. I think that we'll go through the characters one by one. So we've got Lumi LeBlanc. Lumi LeBlanc used to be a caravan child. She was born on an Rimworld merchant ship to an entrepreneurial mother and an absent father, born male. She disliked boy stuff and got into her mother's things all the time. Eventually, she traveled with her mother to a glitter world and spent her savings on a body she was happy with. There you go. Social and artistic up by 2, and then she was a bounty hunter. A transgender bounty hunter. Lumi was a bounty hunter on a massive glitter world. She worked sensitive assignments for extremely wealthy clients and was known for quiet execution and local discretion. I took her because she seems to have a pretty solid set of passions. She's good at just about everything. And then on top of that, she's really, really good at fighting. And I just like to have a couple people that are solid fighters. She has bloodlust, which means that she gets a rush from hurting people and never minds the sight of blood or death. She's twice as likely to start a fight socially. Okay. Well, that's a little troublesome, but it'll be okay. Lumia is just naturally upbeat about her situation pretty much all the time, no matter what it is. So she's got a permanent plus 12 to her mood, which is a really, really solid thing to have. We have Anna Decina, who's a geologist. I promise there was no ulterior motive here. She was a child spy. Children are presumed innocent and thus can be ideal as spies. She was trained in the art of infiltration and information gathering when she was just 9. Her years behind enemy lines and war-torn nature of her homeworld meant she had a limited opportunity for education, but she's good at shooting people. Meanwhile, she worked with miners and cave diggers identifying rock types and natural formations. During her years underground, she also gained experience repairing drilling machines and other technical equipment. So she's good at mining. That's what I was looking for here, is somebody that was good at mining and then potentially also had passions kind of in the lower half of the skill set. Notice how she's kind of everything. She's kind of all over there, and then she's got it all on the top. That tends to be what I aim for, is I just look at the passions. She's too smart. She's too smart for her own good. She learns faster than everybody else, but she can be a little bit eccentric, meaning her break threshold is 10% larger, 12% larger. I'm rounding. I know people will correct me, but I'm rounding down. It's fine. And it has an unusual interest in chemical sources of enjoyment, so she's a drug. She likes drugs. She enjoys recreational activities, and then she's also gay. We've got Kathryn Harley. Well, I think everybody here is female, right? Yeah, everybody here is female. So we're starting up with a crop of ladies. Their ages are a little bit higher than I would like. Oh yeah, this little parentheses is how long they were in, like, if you take this minus this is how long they were in cryo sleep. This is their total age, including all the time they spent in cryo sleep. And then our final character is Harley, or Kathryn Harley, I guess. That's weird. So Harley. Anyways, we'll just call her by her last name. She was a shopkeeper, makes her better at social and research. She was an herbalist, which makes her better at medicine and growing, which is the big thing that we needed right here. We needed somebody to do medicine. Injuries are going to happen, and we need somebody to cure them. She's abrasive. She always says exactly what's on her mind, especially if it's bugging her. She tends to rub people the wrong way. She is a night owl. She likes to work during the night. That's a little bit troublesome right there. I didn't see that one. But she's also a hard worker and will finish tasks faster than most. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to set her up on an opposite schedule of everybody else. That might actually work out okay because it's somebody to stand guard and keep an eye on things. We'll give it a go here and we'll see what happens while playing the game. The three of you awake in your crypto-sleep sarcophagi to the sound of sirens and ripping metal. You barely get to the escape pods before the ship is torn apart. Sometime later, you land on this unknown Rimworld. As pieces of the shredded starship fall around you, you start making plans to survive. And so there's our little Rimworlders. Hooray. They've landed. The first thing we need to do is we need to manage things. We need to tell people that they can do stuff because it is awesome. Alright. So I am just going to run through and start doing some of these little things right there. There are various resources that are going to fall to the planet with you. Just make sure that if they've got the little red X on them, it means that nobody can use that. It's forbidden. It just like lays on the forbidden gun. No one may touch the forbidden gun. All glory to the forbidden gun. But yeah, all that means is that they won't pick it up. Like, they won't do anything with it. They'll just leave it alone, and it'll just lay there the entire time. And so anyways, what I would recommend is that you at least get a couple things sorted on out so that you can pick them up and store them when the time comes, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that we're stepping through as we play the game. And in fact, I'm just familiarizing myself again with the menu. So what do we have here? What do we have here? What do we have here? If you wanted to do that thing I was doing, by the way, if you double click on an item, it'll select all of the same item that's on the screen, then you just press F. That's the hotkey. I'll do my best to explain the things I'm doing too. We started out actually in a really solid spot. I mean, there are probably better spots. For example, okay. It's not too bad. Ideally, I'd be looking for something that's a corner that allows me to hide a little bit better. There are wargs over here. Apparently, we've fallen into Middle Earth. Just my luck. So what we'll need to do here is if we plan on staying in this location, We will need to fortify it. We will need to make it secure. This is a very, very open spot. We can be attacked in this spot very, very easily. Typically, I like to build in spots that are kind of like this one right here, only extended out a little bit deeper. So, since our map only has a loose collaboration of stone all over the place, I mean, it really doesn't matter where we settle. Either way, we're going to have to fortify and build walls and do all that kind of stuff. Either way, it's going to happen. But this area has the added benefit of already having a house built right here. There's already a house, and it's already got a floor. And that'll make people happy. It's already got compacted steel as well, which is a really, really big deal because we're going to need that. And so steel, essentially the way the construction works in this game, is things get better and more beautiful by their grade. So if you build something out of wood, it tends to not be as nice as something made out of steel. Now, that's a rough rule. That's not the 100% gospel truth, but it is something. And so anyways, what I'd like to do right now, I'm going to have them chop wood a little bit. They need to clear this area so that we can have a pasture. How many meals do we have right now? We have 30 meals. That'll last us a little while. We also started with Genius, who I'm hoping was not named ironically, who is a female husky of Colony. Man, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. Alright, well, we've got a planet full of ladies right now. The party's going on. The Beyonce is strong with this colony. So yeah, I'll probably just slap in double doors right here, to be honest. That'd probably be the easiest way to do it. So let's take furniture. And actually, I think it's in structure. There we go. And I'm just going to go with normal wooden doors. And we're going to take those right there, and we're going to put them in like so. And as wood gets harvested, they'll pick it up off the ground, and they'll just drag it and drop it over and into there. In addition, it would probably be an idea that is strapped with a bit of wisdom for us to equip the people who are good at shooting. She's good at shooting, so what I might do, she's got a passion for it anyways. What I might do is I might send her out hunting so she can level up that shooting skill. Because Anna right now is the better shootist. She's quite a bit better at it, but I think she will surpass her because she has a she has a burning passion for shooting things, which makes sense. I mean, well, no, it doesn't. Never mind. She's abrasive, sure, but she's not the bloodlusty one. Here, you go hold that knife. That's right. We're going to start out by arming all of our colonists because we already know that they all have bad tempers and moods. We also need to set up our work priorities, which is like super important. So firefighting, I tend to put firefighting and patient down to 1. Firefighting is essentially what this list is. It's a list of actions they will take and in what order they will do them. So it works exactly like you think, with 1 being first priority and 4 being last priority. She's an herbalist. She's going to be a doctor. She's got a passion for doctoring, so I may have to use her as a doctor a little bit later. Bedrest I'll probably drop down to 2. This is for if they have a really serious injury. This is for not so bad injuries. Flicking, very, very important. Sometimes you just got to flick one out on the Rimworld. It is what it is. Wardening. Do I have anybody with decent social skills? So you will be the warden. Animal handling. Sure, take that. Cooking. Ain't nobody really like cooking around here, so I'm just going to have to pick somebody. We'll pick that. We'll worry about cooking in just a minute, because somebody is going to have to cook. As far as hunting goes, Harley was the night owl, correct? Yeah. I'm a little bit concerned about her mood since she's up during the daytime. With the first day, we might just have to take chances with her. You do get a pretty considerable bonus at the beginning of the game for what you can and can't do. So I'll probably have Harley do the cooking then. We don't really have anybody else that's intensely interested in it. Actually, we'll have her do it. Lumi the hunter will do it. As far as hunting goes, she's got 9.5. She's got 5.5. Go ahead and set those to 2. As far as construction goes, set that to 2-ish. Sounds good. She's got a passion for construction as well, so we can throw that in there. Repairing, set that to 2. Sure. If you got a passion for it, I tend to just let you have it. I would like for growing to get done sooner. And so I'll put the herbalist on it 100%, and then everybody else will take kind of like a secondary approach to it. Mining, your number one priority is, well, actually, let's take this back up to 3. There we go. That works for me. With plant cutting, it's weird. Yeah, plant cutting, just have everybody do that. Plant cutting's fine, and I'm not going to do it that often. For smithing, don't worry about it. Tailor, don't worry about it. Art, don't worry about it. Crafting, once again, don't worry about it. Hauling, cleaning is actually fairly important too. You want to keep everything clean if you can. Research, don't worry about it, and we'll assign the other jobs as we get there. As far as this is concerned right here, I prefer to wash this out, and the way that this is going to have to work is you guys sleep until 4 in the morning. That works fine. Meanwhile, they've got, what, 9 pips? So you guys, you sleep till like then. That should keep your mood taken care of. Right before bedtime, I'm going to give them a couple hours of joyful activities. And then the rest of the time, work it, work it. That seems like it'll work out to me. That seems alright. It's got a cool pattern. It's got a cool pattern. It looks kind of like a squished duck's head. I don't know. Makes me happy. If that doesn't work out, we'll renormalize it. You can set up areas where they're allowed to be and stuff like that, but we'll worry about that a little bit further on into the game. For now, there are little things that need to be accomplished, namely the construction of doors, the construction of beds, the mining of materials. This all needs to be done like very, very soon. In addition, it would probably be a smart idea for us to start farming as well, but we can't really do that till trees are up and out of the way. I'd also like to get a power system up and running. I'd like to install a cooler on this building. I'd like to build a second building that also has a cooler to freeze our food. But this was the preliminary episode of Rimworld Alpha 13. I just wanted to say thanks, everybody, for stopping on in. Things that I have on the docket for the future. I think it would be smart to maybe, I don't know, I might limit some of their anytime stuff so that they can do whatever they want when they feel like they need to do it. But aside from that, I'm really, really solid on what we got going on right now here. You mind that out too. I just want to make sure that we are very, very rich as far as metal goes. Because I always find that I have metal shortages in this game. Like, no matter how hard I try and apply myself, I end up with low metal. But yeah, I will see you all later. Thanks for stopping in for the first episode, the preliminary introduction to Rimworld Alpha 13. No mods installed or anything like that. We might do a modded playthrough next. I am aware of some of the mods and things that people are using to play, and I know which ones I would install were I to do it, but I just want to, I'm a vanilla person. I am a boring, bland, vanilla person. And so anyways, I will see you all in tomorrow's episode of Rimworld. It's been a lot of fun, everybody. Bye.